Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it is my pleasure to introduce Rusty Rader, the CFO and part owner of J.J. Kennedy, Inc., a family-owned ready-mix concrete business headquartered in Fombell, Pennsylvania. Rusty is a graduate of Penn State University and has a master's degree in civil engineering. Prior to joining the family business in 1994, he was employed as a transportation engineer in Chicago. Since his return to J.J. Kennedy, Inc., Rusty has worked to expand the business from a 2-plant local operation to 6 plants located throughout western Pennsylvania. And most relevant to this hearing today, Rusty was integral in implementing technology that has allowed J.J. Kennedy to become more productive ready-mix concrete supplier. The technology that he has applied has given J.J. Kennedy the ability to accurately track the amount of time an employee spends driving versus pouring a load of concrete. This has allowed the company to provide more accurate scheduling of their mixer fleet, ultimately providing their customers with more consistent service. We look forward to hearing your testimony. Welcome, Mr. Rader.
Thank you, Congressman Altmaier, Chairman Kaufman, and other members of the committee. Thanks for this opportunity to share my views on the proposed hours of service regulations currently being promulgated by the FMCSA. My name is Rusty Rader, and I am a co-owner of J.J. Kennedy, Incorporated, a family-owned ready-mix concrete company based out of Fombell, Pennsylvania. J.J. Kennedy was founded in 1905 and currently employs 65 people. We operate 6 ready-mix concrete plants with 32...
Mr. Rader, could you pull your mic a little bit closer to yourself? Sorry about that.
In his defense, it does say do not touch microphone. Rule follower.
We operate 6 ready-mix concrete plants with 32 concrete mixers and deliver nearly 100,000 cubic yards of concrete annually. The current hours of service regulations are not perfect. However, they are manageable and much more flexible for operations such as the ready-mix concrete industry than the new hours of service rule being proposed by the FMCSA. J.J. Kennedy, Incorporated, as well as the ready-mix concrete industry, take issue with a number of the proposed changes, specifically the following 6 points. Number 1, requiring off-duty time immediately following the end of the driving window. Never before has the FMCSA limited the on-duty time in which a driver is allowed to perform his or her work. It has only regulated the amount of time a driver can safely drive. By forcing companies to release drivers at the end of the driving window and not allowing them to continue on-duty work will hurt any company's competitiveness. Plus, many ready-mix concrete companies use a driver to help with additional duties at the plant. By limiting their on-duty time, FMCSA has overstepped its boundaries and responsibilities. Point 2, possibly reducing driving time from 11 to 10 hours. Safety-related incidents for truck traffic has been declining since the rule to allow 11 hours of driving time per day was adopted. J.J. Kennedy and the NRMCA, National Ready-Mix Concrete Association, see no justifiable reason to reduce that number. A reduction in driving time would only cause more trucks to be on the road to deliver the same volume of concrete. Point 3, mandating a break of 30 minutes every 7 hours. Ready-mix concrete drivers spend less than 50% of their on-duty time actually driving. The other 50% is spent at the plant waiting to be dispatched, at the job site waiting to unload, unloading the concrete, and performing other duties. Companies need to have the flexibility to give breaks as the schedules dictate throughout the day. For example, a concrete delivery often takes more than 2.5 hours to complete. Concrete is a perishable product, and once a delivery is started, it must be completed, or the concrete may harden in the truck, causing thousands of dollars worth of damage and potentially violating a delivery contract. Every day is different in the construction field. Thus, companies need the flexibility to deliver concrete when the customer needs it. Often, customers order concrete on an as-soon-as-possible basis. Point 4, limiting restarts of the 60-70-hour clock to once in 7 days. Most ready-mix concrete truck drivers use the construction materials exemption of 24 hours to restart their weekly clocks. A rainy day will often stop deliveries for an entire day more than once a week. Many ready-mix concrete drivers use this 24-hour off-duty period to reset their weekly clock more than once in a 7 or 8 day period, allowing construction schedules to continue when the weather improves. The proposed changes would eliminate this much-needed and used practice. Drivers should have the flexibility to restart their weekly clock as they see fit instead of once per week. Construction schedules fluctuate, and companies need the ability to stay compliant with the regulations and still service their customers. Point 5, including at least 2 periods between midnight and 6 a.m. Many ready-mix concrete producers work exclusively at night during the hot summer months. The reduced nighttime traffic congestion and cooler temperatures are more conducive to concrete placement. By mandating a driver's off-duty time to include at least 2 consecutive periods of midnight to 6 a.m. reduces the number of hours available to meet construction and delivery schedules to an unacceptable level. Not every work day takes place during daylight hours, making this proposed change overly restrictive. And finally, point 6, limiting on-duty time to 13 hours in a driving window. NRMCA sees no justification to limit on-duty time. FMCSA should restrict its regulations to driving time as I previously mentioned. During the 16-hour window days, this would require a mandatory minimum of 3 hours of non-productive, non-paid time. This provision makes no sense for the short-haul driving industry like ready-mix concrete. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on how FMCSA's proposed hours of service regulations will affect J.J. Kennedy and the ready-mix concrete industry.